Welcome back to Geek Shuffle and the Warhammer 40k Adepta Sororitas Combat Patrol project. I started this up last month and it has been on hold for a while. I had a lot of other videos I had to get out, but I will try to get at least one video out of this for a Friday video once a month. And for the first video in this, I will see if I can't get started on the tank, the biggest one in the bunch. And in these first couple of videos, we are doing assembly, which is, of course, the first step. So if we take a look at these plastic sprues, we can see that the biggest set here are the tank bits. And when we do this, we normally can take a look at the manual, find the page with the tank bits here. And they are likely numbered, I think. Otherwise, you will be maybe not numbered. But you are able to recognize, well, they are numbered here. L1, L3, L5, so forth. And find the corresponding number in the manual if you can't recognize them going off the picture, of course. And that is what I'm going to do in this. I'm not going to show the entire process. There will be a lot of cuts in this. I don't have I'm not going to move my camera setup to my workbench, so I will be jumping back and forth. I'm just going to go over the initial process in the beginning here. So we have one sprue with the large plates here, and this is the bottom part. We have some tracks and side pieces. We have another sprue with detailing, with symboling, weapon parts, the driver, I believe, and a lot of small pieces that will take a lot longer to get out. And the rest of the pieces are the smaller miniatures in the box. So these will be the three sprues that we will have to work on. And for that, we are using the main tool is a flat-sided plier, cutting plier. And for that, when you are doing this, I'm just going to refocus so we can, is getting the plier in, not up to the parts that you want to cut out, but a bit further away, like so. So you've got a millimeter or so away from the part, and cut it like this. So you still have a bit of the plastic on this piece itself, and that you will remove with I will show that you will remove with a knife and then a file if you want to be very if you want it very smooth, and that you will do on each piece following the guide in the manual. So that is what you do with the cutter. Most basic Warhammer hobby sets come with a plier. It is often not the best quality. Well, they get better and better. The beginner hobby sets you get from Warhammer, but a good cutter is one of the best tools you can start out with. And then I follow up with, let me just get one of these out. So we follow up with normally I use a magnification tool for this, for my old eyes. So we get one piece out, and then we have the surplus plastic on the three cut points. Then I have an X-Acto knife like this. This is a pretty big one, but I have pretty big hands. Many people prefer something smaller. And then you cut off the extra plastic. I'm not going to do this here again because I am using a magnifier, an illuminated magnifier when I do this, so I make sure that I don't cut anything excessive off. But scrape off the excess as much as you can, and then I use files. And here you can invest in something expensive. I just use from the dollar store or whatever the equivalent is in your country, nail files from the beauty section. Start off with something rough and then something finer to edge off the remains, to get it down to some. This is where you can feel the grains, and then something smooth to smooth it out, to get down to the last bits. And that you have to do with every piece in the set. And as you can imagine, once you get down to these, this takes some time. For the entire set like this will take a couple of hours just to get them out of the frame, and then we can talk about assembly. So here will be a cut.
One eternity later.
All right, we're back, and we have cut out most of the stuff from the tank sprues, the main parts. I have left the threads inside because they are numbered, and I don't want to mix them up with the larger pieces. And I haven't started on the pretty pieces yet, just to keep things a bit separated. So I have taken them all out. I have cut off the surplus plastic. I have filed them down. I only had a minor issue where I punctured myself with the knife, but that happens. Always have bandages ready when you are working with sharp tools, such as life. And the next step is, of course, depending on the size of the project. If you're working with an Imperial Knight or something, follow the instructions. Do it one step at a time. This isn't bigger than I can keep every part in memory. I know where things go. There's a reason why I didn't move on to the smaller pieces and started taking everything out, because you will get lost in the project. But I did this just to have a workflow and cut, so I can get things over with a bit quicker. But of course, you know how you best deal with things, but don't open the entire box, cut out every piece of plastic. You will lose stuff, and you will mix stuff up, and it will be messy. Follow the instructions a bit, especially if you're new to this stuff. The next, as you can see, the next steps are to assemble stuff, and that is pretty easy. Once you have cut them out, these fit together, pairs like this, like so, and then the tank threads will go around, and these are meant to be glued. So you get a cheap plastic-enabled superglue. Just make sure that it doesn't melt the plastic. Some superglues will melt plastic, and then it gets messy. Just make sure that it is plastic safe. And then make sure that you have checked the instructions, that it is the right pieces that go together. Follow the instructions. And that is the next step in this case. And very important, when you look at the instructions here, you have small icons. I definitely want to focus on that. The small icons like here, which means no, the droplet here means not to glue stuff, because here we have a hatch that is meant to open. So if you glue it, you can't open the hatch. This is so you can place units into the back of the back of the hatch. Here we have an icon that means that you need to paint this before you place it inside. Otherwise, this will never be able to be painted. And in some other cases, you want to ground. Grounding means the base layer of paint. Some pieces you might want to ground them before you place them and glue them on. That is more advanced, but in this case, definitely paint this item before you place it inside, if they say so. Otherwise, it will never be painted. So read the instruction first before you start assembly. Otherwise, you might end up with issues with parts that you can see from the outside that will never be painted. Most of this is gray, so it's not the worst thing that can happen. But if you want to have a white tank, for instance, or a different color scheme, and you get some pieces that doesn't match your color scheme, that is of course not optimal, especially in this price range. But other than that, just follow the instructions, assemble the tank, and that will be the next thing you will see is hopefully a somewhat assembled tank without all the trimmings. So, cut here.
One eternity later.
All right, we're back with the next step. It is not assembled yet, of course, but we have glued a bit, and I just wanted to show how it might look, how big it is once it is close to being assembled. I have not glued anywhere near all the pieces yet. I just wanted to show it off. We have the roof parts, we have the side doors, not glued, both side doors. We have the top parts, like so. And we have the main compartment. And I didn't want to glue any of this because I am not sure what parts I want to paint. As it stands, I want to have access to this compartment, and we have this hatch. This was the part that said don't glue this because you want to have access to the back compartment. What I have glued is these two pieces. So we have the two side pieces. They have been glued together from two separate parts, these parts, and I have glued on the tracks from 10 pieces each or so. It's a bit of a pain, but if you're doing this, just start with the bottom piece. It fits in. It can fit in two ways. Make sure that the wide side of the track goes towards the outer edge, because that is the way you want to have it. So you have the wide side of the track facing outwards on both sides, and then build upwards from there. Then you makes it a lot easier. Don't start from one end; it will be a pain. So you have the two track pieces, and then it is a pretty easy assembly. Fit them together like so, and they are slotted like this. Of course, fit this in before you do so. This is the part that they didn't want you to glue in before you paint, because it has gun details, it has a monitor detail. There's a lot of detail on this. It's a computer screen and stuff. So definitely paint this in hand before you put it into the tank, the Rhino tank, and then finally put it all together. Then it has a lot of details. It has the top part you can replace. It has an open gunner slot if you want this instead. It has the front shielding that goes on here, and then all the rest of it is detailing. As you can see, it has a lot of of course, church detailing, a ton of detailing that has to go on, that you have to glue on by yourself. And of course, the guns, the weapons, the cannons, whatever, and the different small figures that goes with it, the driver and weapons guy. So this is as far as I will take it in this video, and in the next video I will go over final assembly and grounding, most likely the first layer of paint, before we move on to final paint stages and such. I hope this was interesting for somebody, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.